Before we begin this episode, we wanted to let you know that the topic of suicide is discussed. So please make sure to take care of yourself while listening.
Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Welcome to the Healing Generation podcast. My name is Ariel Jimenez, and I will be one of the hosts for today's segment. We first wanted to start off by thanking all of the listeners for your continued support and for tuning in as we explore what healing means to today's generation and to today's youth. Today, we're excited about our guest, Martin Miranda, who's going to be joining us. Martin has been connected to the Círculos here in San Jose since his freshman year in high school. I could personally say I've seen his growth. He's my cousin, and I've seen him not only attend the Joven Noble circles, but attend the monthly circles and even the retiros in Jolon. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about his journey and what healing means to today's youth. But before we do that, I wanted to make sure that we pass it over to my co-host, Alejandro Osuna, who's also going to be guiding today's conversation. So Alejandro, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here today. Always a pleasure to co-host with you, Ariel. I'm super excited to interview our guest who actually knows how we start most things, which is with conocimiento. So our first question for you, Martin, is something you're pretty used to already, but we just want to know a little bit more about yourself. So questions are, who are you and who do you represent? And anything else you want to share with our listeners.
Well, my full name is Martin Miranda-Bustos. I carry both last names heavy. So it's even hyphenated in my name. So every time I make clear to have both last names because I carry those with me all the time. I represent my parents, Yadira Bustos and Martin Miranda Sr. They're from Ococlan, Jalisco and Lagos Moreno, Jalisco. So I'm 100% from Jalisco. In my opinion, I say it's the best state in Mexico. I know a lot of people hearing this are going to get mad. But I also have love for people from Guanajuato. Because where my dad's from, it's border town to Leon, Guanajuato. So I would be in there every summer too, helping with my grandma sell. So I have much love for the people of Guanajuato. And that's, a little bit of me.
Thank you. Definitely Jalisqueño, so welcome. First question on my end is, how did you get connected to Joven Noble? How was that entry point for you?
I got connected to Joven Noble when I was a freshman in high school. I wasn't going in the right path. I had just finished football and, once you're out of sports, you don't really care about stuff. You start going in different directions, experiencing different things. So you're like, damn. So I know I wasn't going to the right path and then got connected to Ariel, which, my cousin, so he just took me under his wing. He took me under his wing and, just saw that he didn't want me to go in that wrong direction. So, he kind of just took me under his wing. Ever since then, been connected now for going on 11 years now.
Nice. It seems like our past couple of guests have really been a part of that Ariel #1 fan club. I know our last guest, Christian, too, had literally said the exact same thing that Ariel's the one that got him introduced to it. But no, thank you for sharing about your experience. And for those of you that don't know, Joven Noble is a 12-week program with different lessons that we go through. So I just want to ask you, what lesson did you resonate the most with, or which lesson stuck with you the most, like you think about on the daily?
The teaching that I take ever since I learned it is the Ojo de Venado. And what I represent is those protecting you. And I know when we were doing it, they explained to us that we had to pick 4 different colors that represented 4 people that we carried close to our heart. So that one touched me because I think at that point I picked my mom, my dad, my grandma, and my little brother, which I carry very close even to this day. So every time I have that necklace, I just think of it. And every time I carry it, I just think like there's that protection with me. No matter where I'm at, I could be cross country and I have that on and I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm safe knowing I have it on.
Thank you for explaining it that way too, because I think that's always a good reminder to carry, that even though people might not be here physically with us, whether it's on a road trip or somewhere else, that they're still with us in spirit. So I appreciate that. I also mentioned that you also attended the Jolon Retiros, right? Where we go into retreat, we go into a sweat lodge, we do all that over a span of a weekend. How was that experience for you, going to Jolon, being able to sit with other men in circle, and being able to just be in ceremony?
That was, damn, to be honest, like a very eye-opening and like overall like dope experience, because I was 18 at the time when I went, so I was fresh into that adulthood. But to go in there and sit with people that could be my dad, my grandpa, and just soak in so much knowledge and wisdom was crazy. Like I left that retreat like, damn, like I don't know nothing about life yet. Like there's still a lot for me to experience, a lot for me to learn, and like just being in there, like them lacing me up on experiences and like stuff that they messed up on, that like damn, like it was able to help me as I grow up to be this young man. And just being in that circle too, at that retreat I went to, that first one or second one, we met Bobby Lee Verdugo, which if not a lot of people know about the East LA walkouts. He's one of them, the ones that started it. So you will hear about the stories, and then you actually be in that spot with the legend like that, like say like in the middle of nowhere, like that's the last spot you think you ever meet someone that big. So I even have a picture with him. So like I want to frame it because I want to be able to say like, hey, I was with the legend at one point.
No, yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from, especially with him, because I had like just finished learning about the 1968 walkouts, and then all of a sudden we were housing him at our house because he was gonna like go talk on my middle school, and I was all like, "Oh my God, you're famous or whatever!" Like I was like starstruck. But thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna go back to something that you said earlier, which was that you've been in group or involved with group for around 11 years now. And that's a pretty long time to spend with all these weird men like Ariel and Miki. So, I mean, I just want to ask you, like, what has made you keep coming back or keep living in the traditions and the teachings that Joven Noble and NCN have to offer you?
I think just knowing that I can pass down the teachings that they gave me, to say Miguel, Ariel, Osvaldo, even Mario, that have gave me these teachings that I can continue to pass down to the next generation. Like my little brother is getting into that high school age where, I want to continue that teachings to him, so then he can pass it on, and to my nephew. So I think just knowing that it's a cycle that we want to continue to pass down these teachings, that's what's kept me connected to it, because that's the most important thing, keeping the teachings going.
Yeah, definitely the teachings. I want to go ahead and just ask a little bit deeper. I know you mentioned, one of the reasons that you came back was because of the wisdom and the teachings and wanting to pass that to the next generation, which for us, it's very important, right? Maestro Jerry always talks about the intergenerational blessings and how do we pass on that intergenerationally. But for you, what made you want to come back personally? And I'm asking it this way because for someone that might be at a high school or someone that might be struggling and goes to a community center and they're hesitating to go into Circle for the first time, when you came into Circle, what were the different components that made you feel comfortable being there, right? Was it Mario welcoming you, saying, hey, welcome, mijo? Was it Ozzy saying, hey, can I get you some food? Like, what were the different components? Because I know you attended the evening group, so I know we had snacks.
Yeah.
There was other people like Mark and Kevin that were there before you that maybe made you feel more comfortable. So think about those components, right? What were the things that made you feel comfortable in Circle?
I think just ever since I started, just the welcoming I got from everyone. I mean, you go in there as a stranger, but I think everyone welcomes you, and you end up, building these relationships that you carry with you, possibly for the rest of your life. And just knowing that you're in a circle with like people from different backgrounds, and like no matter what background you come from, you're welcome and you're loved. the color of your skin has nothing to do in those circles. They welcome anybody. I think when we were in the circle, there was people from different backgrounds, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So just knowing that no matter what culture you come from, you know, you always have a seat available for you.
I think that last part you just said is super important. The fact that you're always going to have that seat available for you. You know, I mean, we just had one of our youngsters who's coming back into circle this week, which I don't know when this will be released, but he's coming back, and it was important for us to let him know that, you know, he always
Yeah.
had that seat for him, always ready and available for him to take whenever he wanted to come back or needed to come back to us.
Yeah, and also I feel like what also helped me when I was there and someone else wasn't, there will always be a seat available just to know that they couldn't be there physically, but you know, we're still thinking of them. You know. So just having that, you know, you're still thought of even though you're not physically here. That's what like that, like, you know, this is something I want to come back to.
No, definitely, definitely. Always leaving that one empty chair available for, you know, the ones that passed away, the ones that can't come to circle anymore. It's definitely a powerful thing that I feel like a lot of us take home with us. But our next question for you has to do more about, you know, your healing journey. And, you know, we all have those people that really have helped us through it. Obviously, healing comes from ourselves, but it makes it easier when you have that village behind you. So I want to ask you, you know, who has walked with you through this healing journey, through your journey of life that you want to lift up?
There's three people I want to lift up. First off has to be Mario Suna, Big Mo, however people know him. Ever since I came into Circle, and even to this day, you know, there's a person that's always looking out for me, always lacing me up with teachings. I could run into him at the store and he'll lace me up with a teaching. So, you know, just to know that no matter where or, you know, what's going on, like he's gonna be there for you. Second person has to be Osvaldo Relas. He was the facilitator with Air when I first came to group, so he welcomed me, and he was like another big brother to me because there was instances where I was the little younger cousin was being left out, and he kind of went through similar situations being a younger sibling or cousin. So he would be like, "Hey, come on, guys, let's include him. Come on." So he always like looked out for me, and even to this day, we still talk. I know we had a similar situation where we lost a parent, and you know, one of the first persons to reach out was him because he knew what I was going through. So he knew I was getting all these messages from tons of people, but he just told me, "Bro, I'm not gonna say what everyone else is saying. It's just, you know, bro, like just do you, man. Cry out, do whatever you need, man. Let me know if you need anything. But I'm just letting you know, just let it all out." The third person I want to lift up, it was gonna be my best friend Yesenia Plazola. Does anyone that see me at my rock bottom has been her. I think when I couldn't really talk to anyone, she was the only person I can talk to and uplift me. I remember like she's a person that you can call and she'll answer. I remember when I called her to tell her about my mom passing, like it was like 1 or 2 when my mom passed. So when I called her, it was the first person she answered, you know. So just those are three people that, you know, have helped me in the healing journey that I've gone through. So I just want to uplift those three individuals. And I know there's a lot more I can think of, but those three are for sure.
You know, thank you for sharing those people with us, because I think, you know, it's always important, especially people that are with us at our rock bottom. I think when we're at the lowest and look around, and those are the people that are lifting us up when we can't lift ourselves up, those people are important to us. So I thank you for that. Also, you talked about being at the rock bottom. And sometimes that could be because of trauma, sometimes because of experiences, sometimes, you know, because of internal things. But the opposite of that is healing. You know, when we think about how do we overcome those traumas, how do we heal those wounds? And we've talked about healing in many different aspects in the circle. But how would you define healing to someone that maybe is not connected to those circles, someone that maybe doesn't have understanding of the concept? What does healing mean to you, and how would you define it?
Healing for me is I describe it as a marathon because, you know, this is constant battle, just trying to better yourself, trying to overcome whatever you're going through, and know that you also have other people relying on you. So you gotta better yourself for those. Also, I feel like just trying to overcome and take on the problem you have head on, because now growing up and experiencing more stuff, life's unfair. So you're gonna have these everyday battles. You're not gonna have the best day every day. So just knowing that to take on this battle head on, this is what I feel healing is, because you're just trying to better yourself every single day, not just for yourself but for other people.
Yeah, I think all those components are true. A follow-up question: what are some tools that have helped you heal? Like, what are some things that you've done in your daily life, and whether in high school, your early college career, even now, what are some things that you've been able to connect to help you in that healing process?
A big one for me is working out. I think it's possibly the best one for me. I think when just I'm having a bad day or I'm just going through a tough state of mind, I'm just like, damn, I need to hit the gym. Or even a very big one, when I was grieving at the very peak of it, was running. I would get up at like 4 in the morning and I would just run. Another one is just, I think for me, surrounding myself with very close family and friends, you know, just trying to have a good time and forget like whatever you have going on. Being surrounded by people really uplifts me, so that's another one. Third one, watching football, watching sports in general. I think just forgetting whatever I have and just focusing on this game, enjoying it, talking smack. You distract yourself from what you have going on. You're so busy, you're so caught up talking smack that you forget that you have, this assignment due tomorrow, like that's stressing you out, but you're over here watching the game and you're talking smack, forgetting about it. So that's another one for me that I tend to use.
Nice. You have a lot of really healthy like coping mechanisms. So that's really cool to see. I love that for you. But no, yeah, I mean, honestly, that's awesome. I wish I could just be like, I'm sad, I'm gonna go take a run now. Like, I'd be such a skinny queen if I did that every time I'm sad. Like, nowadays I'm like, I'm gonna go drink Starbucks because I work there. So that's awesome. I love that for you.
Yeah, it's crazy because Eric could relate. Like, when I was very heavy and running, I lost over 50 pounds. And tias look at you like, what the hell's going on with this guy? Like, tias were like worried for me, and I was like, I'm just losing weight. But tias were like, nah, he's going through it. And I was like, nah, just
And then on the other hand, you had my mom like, mijo, cuando vayas a correr, llévate mi gordito, like take him with you. so we got all of it. We got all of it.
Thank you for answering that. We're gonna be moving on to one of my favorite questions, and actually Ariel was trying to steal it from me right now, so I had to steal it back really quickly. But my question to you is, if you had a microphone that everyone in the world could hear what you're about to say, what is one issue you would like to uplift?
One issue I would lift up is men's mental health. I think it tends to be a topic that gets, I'm not saying forgotten, but like not talked about a lot till something major happens, like suicide. For example, I was almost in that statistics of suicide. And it's not till then that, it's like, oh damn, check up on your male friends. I think the suicide rate is higher amongst men and even higher amongst men of black or brown skin. So that would definitely be an issue I would talk about, because we can't wait till, we lose a close friend to something when, you could just checked up on them. We all have busy lives. We all have so much going on in our lives, but simple text, simple call could go a long way to saving a life.
I think that's real, right? I think mental health in general is it's very important. But when you talk about mental health, I think in a lot of our communities, especially people of color, it's taboo, right? It's taboo to cry. It's taboo to talk about your feelings, unless you're drunk and off of tequila and I love you and vente pa acá,
Yeah,
mijo, right? And then all of a
all the
sudden you
deals.
then you have that excuse, right? But I think when you're sober and you're connected and you're feeling, it's taboo for us to connect in that way, unless you're in healthy spaces.
Yeah, or just I seen this video the other day. It's like this kid was like telling his dad, "Oh, dad, I'm depressed," and his dad was like, "¿Qué son esas cosas? No, vente a trabajar." We were kind of used to. That's how we grew up. And unfortunately, it's affected a lot of men that we still carry that to this day.
Hmm.
That we're trying to, you know, make sure that the next generation doesn't have to deal with that. I'm teaching that to my little brother. I'm pretty sure Ariel is, and just anyone else that's out there that's has a younger sibling and that's been through similar paths like us.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny that you say that because social media is like where we get a lot of our information now.
Yeah,
So yeah, I was looking at a video on social media, and someone said depression is a privilege, and that threw me for a loop. And as I listened to the video, they said a lot of our parents were too poor to be depressed because even though they weren't feeling well, even though they were struggling, they still had to get up to go to work because if they didn't go to work for that one day, and that one day of wages wasn't in their pocket, their bank accounts, they didn't have enough food for the kids. They didn't have enough for rent. So they really talked about depression was a privilege to a lot of the older folks. And I never thought about it that way. So
yeah,
so it's a trip, right? Thinking about it in that sense.
yeah. And also, like, I have a story similar to that. I remember when my dad got the phone call. He was getting ready to go to work, and he gets a phone call in the morning that his mom passes. And thinking the regular person will have the day off. Nah, he went on to work, and I was like, "Wait, why are you going to work?" He's all like, "So who's gonna pay for the services and stuff?" He had that mindset, like
Hmm.
So it's always that mindset that they had. They can't be down.
Yeah, even bereavement and all that stuff, right? It's very, very
Yeah,
limited sometimes, and it's not in all workspaces. So
yeah,
that's true. But thinking about even sticking onto mental health, there's a lot of people that feel alone. There's a lot of people that struggle with that concept. Even they might be in a crowd full of people, but they still feel alone. So, what might you say to someone that might be struggling, that might be at their rock bottom? What advice would you have for them?
it's okay to be down, but just know that you're loved. There's people out there that care. You know, reach out to people, reach out to family, friends. There's also hotline services now offering help. So just don't feel like you're alone. There's a lot of resources out there that can help you. Friends can help you. So just know that there's always a brighter day. It's not this constant battle of just I'm down, I'm down, I'm down. There's a lot more to life, than be down. Be down a little bit, but just know that life's short and just enjoy it.
Mm, thank you. Thank you for that. I think that's something that we get stuck in a lot is our hurt because I mean my dad always tells me this, it's so easy, just to stay in bed or just to stay in those thoughts. And I think it takes a lot for someone to truly just not get out of them, but to work through them and
Yeah,
live in them, and even acknowledging like I'm taking this day for myself, but tomorrow I'm gonna be the most productive self I could be. Thank you for saying that. And I mean, not necessarily that this next question has to do with mental health, but I know a lot of the time our mental health can make us feel like we aren't sacred or we aren't worth loving or worth opportunities, and we get into that self-sabotaging mindset of I don't deserve this. Like why is my life going so good right now,
hmm
so my question to you is, when did you realize you were sacred? If someone helped you realize you were sacred, like when did that happen for you?
that happened for me 3 months after my mom passed. I was in a dark place, really going through it. Was on the verge of committing suicide, and my little brother walks in, and that stops me. And after everything, like, I got that thought, like, damn, that was a sign from a mom, knowing that, sacred, I have a bigger purpose in life. It wasn't time, I have a lot more to help out, give back. I think that's always the biggest thing for me, to give back. And just that then the moment was like, damn, like, I'm sacred. Like, I got the message from up top, from my ancestors, that, it's not time yet. You have a lot more to do on this planet. So that's when I was like, damn, yeah, I'm sacred.
Thank you for sharing that painful moment, right? Because I hope that you never feel like that again. I hope that if you ever, have emotions or any ideation of hurting yourself, I hope that you can reach out to us. And we hope that you don't even have to reach out to us, that we're there to support you. And it's true that sometimes that message from up top, those people say, hey, you need to get in alignment. Hey, you might be doing a little bit better. Someone come whose nephew is this? Someone come get him. So I think, I think our people take care of us that way. And messages come in a lot of different ways. And I've heard you, throughout our conversation today, really talk about the little ones, right? You talked about your niece and nephew. You talked about your little brother. What advice do you have for that next generation? Because I've heard you say, not only in this conversation, but just in circle, that you hope that they inherit more blessings and inherit less pain, right? So when you think about the next generation, what advice do you have for them as they grow up?
The advice I would give is surround yourself with elders. Get connected to elders, because they have so much knowledge, wisdom. They've walked the path you're about to walk. So get that help that you can, so you won't run into the same problems that they encountered while they were walking that path that you're about to walk. Reach out, connect yourself with, if you have a grandma or grandpa, get very close to them. Not a lot of us have that opportunity to, So if you have that elderly person that in your life that you can connect to, just definitely get close to them, and, take as much knowledge and wisdom as you can, because it'll go a long way throughout your life.
I agree with that. Definitely, connecting to those that are older, that are our elders. I mean, for the past couple of months, my grandma's been living with us. And, she could talk for days. And, sometimes I take it for granted. And, I just really have to sit there and listen to her stories and take in what she's saying, and, hearing all the fun stuff and hearing her wisdom that she's gone through, and her passing it down to us, knowing that one day I could tell my children those stories, how their great grandma and grandpa met, how they lived through their lives and stuff. So I think definitely just taking the time to sit down and listen is very important, and something that people don't do enough anymore. Yeah, I just want to say a really big thank you for being on our podcast. I'm going to pass it off to you and Ariel if you all have any last remarks. It's been an honor to host this podcast and have you as our guest. I'm going to pass it to you first, Martin. Any closing remarks you might have? Any last things you want to say to our listeners?
I just want to say thank you to both of you guys for having me. I've heard the previous episodes, so to be a part with the rest of the individuals that have been part of it, it's an honor and blessing. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Ariel?
Same for me. I think I'm just in gratitude. Martin, I've seen you in circle. I've seen you interact with the community. I've seen you interact with our family. So for me, I'm proud of the person that you are. I'm proud to be connected to you, proud to call you my family. And thank you for being vulnerable and talking about some of those painful memories, but also talking and lifting up some of the amazing people that we have in our life. I think sometimes we forget to really appreciate them, to send them a little message and say, hey, you know what? Thank you for being there for me. So some of the people that you mentioned are people that I hold dear to my heart too. So I want to make sure my homework for myself is to send them a note too and say, hey, thank you, not only for being there for me, but also for being there for my family. So I think that's when we say the National Compadres Network and that extended kinship is chosen family. So I definitely appreciate that reminder. So thank you.
Thank you both. This has been the youth portion of the Healing Generations podcast. It's always an honor to run this with Ariel, and thank you to all the people who helped make it what it is. Feel free to follow us on Instagram at the Healing Generations podcast and La Cultura Cura, and on Facebook at National Compadres Network. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and take care of yourself. Thank you.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.